the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ospiato, Collins, Coyle, here. Lee, Owen, here. Mrs. Abramson, here. Dessler.
Okay, we're going to start with our favorite event of the evening in our meetings, our District 207's Best. And we're going to, for Maine West, we have our District 207's Best for Improved Performance.
I'm really happy tonight to introduce Sky Thompson. Isabella, when I met with her, she didn't tell me she goes by Sky. So I think you let me talk to you for like a whole hour without telling me that. So in 1 hour of conversation with Sky, I heard a better articulation of our mission and purpose than I myself have been able to express in the last 7 months. And it came out really clearly when she described why she came to trust Carrie Baroni, her preschool teacher. Sky took a class with Ms. Baroni during her sophomore year. Significantly, she couldn't remember what the class was. And I think that's important because the learning with the most value didn't come from the content per se. What she did recall gives us the key to Sky's wisdom. I always knew she was a caring person. She could tell when I was upset and give me space. She cared without judging. I'm always looking for that. So everything Sky ever needed to be successful was right there. All we had to do was care without judging. By the way, it was consumer benefit, she told me. Okay. Sky talks openly about the values that form her foundation, those cultivated by her family. Hard work, goal setting, going after your passion. These came from the support of her grandmother, her dad, and her older brother, who all sat her down for a talk at some point in her freshman year. Working through grief after a death in the family, Sky liked West, but as she put it, I didn't put any effort into myself. I didn't care. I didn't believe in myself. She got in some trouble, and as she put it, she learned to second guess herself. The support of her family and a few teachers who, quote, stayed on me in a good way, helped her work through her pain and confusion. After her talk with her family, Sky says, I realized I have to push through to get somewhere in life. And to hear Sky's teachers tell her there is absolutely no question that she will get somewhere in life. They see her keen sense of humor, that's Mr. Honesty. They see that she is open and honest and asks a ton of questions and responds really well to individual support, Mr. Ellison. And Ms. Laffey noted that Sky can be hard to get to know at first, but she also said this about what she did learn once they built trust. There is a maturity in her that I do not see in other students. She converses with adults in a positive way that is often different than other students in class. She always looks you in the eye and is honest in what she said. She's also very resilient. She fractured bones in her foot and was in pain and on crutches, but worked through it to finish the semester. As hard as it has been, she has come a long way with her foot and in class. I enjoyed having her in class, and I'm glad I got to know her better. Mrs. Baroni, Sky's preschool teacher, was delighted when she learned that Sky is getting this award tonight. She shared that when Sky got my note requesting a meeting, she had no idea why and was afraid she was in trouble. And Mrs. Baroni knew better. She said, her initiative, responsibility, and compassion for others is remarkable. I'm so proud of her work with preschool children and her peers this year. She's so deserving of this award. She is humble, kind, compassionate, and has shown great strength and determination. Mrs. Ryan, who teaches sociology, was likewise delighted that Sky is the next honoree. Like her colleagues, Mrs. Ryan highlighted the qualities that will make Sky successful in anything she does. I'm not sure what Isabella's journey, you must not have told her either. I'm not sure what Isabella's journey looked like prior to entering this course of sociology students, but whatever road she has traveled has helped her develop the mindset necessary for being a great sociologist. Asking hard questions, speaking uncomfortable truths, and being fully present is the Isabella I have had the pleasure of knowing. Her willingness to help her peers without judgment is an area where she stands out. It's been a pleasure to have her as a student. Sky's teachers paint a picture that is definitely recognizable as the fantastic young woman with whom I could have delighted and talked all day. Sky shared that she wants to study nursing next year, but as I listened to her, I kept thinking, I would hire her someday in a minute. She spoke of her love for the preschool kids in a way that highlighted a lot of values that make for a great educator. She recognizes and treasures unconditional love when she sees it, and she already knows how to give her students a voice. She said, they don't know if something's wrong with you, they just love you. I love doing crafts with them, they're so picky about their crafts. They know what they want and they can articulate it. So too does Sky. When I asked her how she compares to her freshman self, she said, I'm about 20% who I was. I'm still direct and confrontational, but I'm not fooling. No more detentions, no more calls home. Sky's on a mission, and we can either help or get out of the way. I learned so much from talking with her. We need to make the crunch wraps cheaper. and put monster and goldfish in the vending machines. But seriously, Sky helped me remember our mission and purpose in a way that I needed to see it. Whether or not they make it easy for us to see, our kids have everything they need inside that will be successful. When we care without judging and give them voice, then and only then are we the school they need us to be. I want to thank Sky personally for making that vision clear to me in a new and powerful way. So, on behalf of Maine West High School faculty and staff, I'm thrilled to present this honor for improved performance to Isabella Sky Thompson. So you stand right there and they give you stuff. And Sky, can you talk about your plans for next year?
Next year, I'm going to Trinity College, and I'm going to apply for nursing or around the medical field right now.
That's great. And can you share who's with you tonight?
My mom and dad are with me, and my 2 younger siblings are with me. My girlfriend didn't make it.
Congratulations.
And then for Maine East, we're going to present Best District 207 Best for Technology Leader. No,
Great. Hi, everybody. I am very pleased to introduce to you Zarak Carrick. Why don't you stand up here so people can take a deep breath. So, a review of Zarak's transcript shows that he has consistently taken challenging classes, typical in terms of accelerated AP and dual credit. So a lot of the AP things that one would expect, but I really kind of want to go through all of the CTE electives that he has taken advantage of. So he's also doing dual credit math this year, the endeavor, the dual credit with Eastern. But he has taken a variety of CTE courses, including AP Computer Science Principles, Engineering and Design Capstone Class, Cybersecurity, Virtual Enterprises International, VEI, Project Lead the Way Civil Engineering and Architecture Accelerated, Project Lead the Way Computer Integrated Manufacturing Accelerated, Network Plus, Project Lead the Way Engineering and Design, Computer Programming, Robotics, and multiple independent study courses in Applied Tech and Business. So he's been very, very active as a student leader in that department all 4 years. In addition to strong academic performance, he's been active in several co-curricular clubs, including Skills USA for the last 3 years, Robotics Club, he's the Officer of Communications, Graphic Arts Club, and additionally he's been a member of Amnesty International and Book Club. Learned from his teachers in CTE, they describe him as a passionate student who learns through exploration. He started his freshman year taking an engineering class in computer programming, quickly engaged himself in learning the basics and found his niche with robotics and programming. Zarak has continued to his quest to learn and apply his knowledge, gaining skill by testing and validating a wide range of technologies, as well as researching technology solutions. Will Greenwald, computer and robotics teacher, says that Zarak has been a leader in his classroom and outside since he was a freshman. He said, in all my classes, he's been willing to take on any issue and work to find a solution that works for all his classmates. Every year during his free time, he comes to me and asks how I can help. He's helped us develop projects for augmented reality, AR, virtual reality, VR, robotics, and our cyber Linux classes. He's truly an educational asset inside and outside of the classes. Zarak worked with Mr. Greenwald to learn Unity, a program used to create VR games and open source tutorials. With Zarak's help, teachers were able to modify the instructions for other students to follow and better align them to the standards covered in the class. He's also helped test AR and VR programs for other courses outside of CTE. With his expertise, we've been able to successfully implement new strategies including Sparrow, Microbits, and Raspberry Pis. Zarak is given a tech tool and plays with it so that the teacher has an understanding of where students might struggle. He then helps write directions that both the teacher or the student can refer to in implementing the technology in class for others. This year, he's focused on helping CTE teachers create content for robotics and coding classes through the creation of programming curriculum that teaches students how to use block-based coding in JavaScript. If you ask me exactly what any of this is, I can reach to you at this point. But I've checked this text for accuracy and Eric can probably confirm this. His help on this has helped us create a bridge between computer programming and robotics to AP Computer Principles and AP Computer Science A, making the classes more accessible to all levels of students. Mr. Payne says, Zarak is a deep-thinking individual who is inquisitive in his learning. He's able to ask insightful and thoughtful questions that help deepen not only his understanding of the content, but also that of his classmates. In addition, he's great at making connections across different content areas, with the goal for all of our students. Mr. Greenwald commented that Zarak is a leader in the class, able to find answers and break down complex problems. He's also leading a robotics project in engineering and design capstone that will be entered into the Skills USA competition for the robotics search rescue. Mr. Kaiser has been working with him in Skills USA for 3 years, where he's been a part of the robotics search and rescue team since his sophomore year. He's put in a tremendous amount of time researching and designing the robot, enabling the team to compete at the state level. In fact, that team won state and went on to compete at the national level. Zarak and his teammates will be competing again this April in Springfield, and we wish you well. He's interned with Alvidas Technologies and Displays, doing 3D modeling, printing, and UI design using Python. This summer he plans to continue his internship, and he noticed that he had the need to learn C# and C++. Subsequently, he's been teaching himself, so he's ready to be involved and learn more. Next year, he plans to attend Loyola, and he'll talk to you just a little bit about that in a moment. And one other, well, this has been about kind of STEM and science. Also, when he shared some information with me, and he listed some teachers that have been really influential. One of the people, one of two that he really identified as being maybe most influential in his high school career is one of our English teachers, Greg Lindbergh. So over the weekend, I texted Greg, and he sent this to me after the letter, but this is pretty cool, and I think it gives you another glimpse into this young man. He said, here's a little story about Zarak might help. One of the things that make him unique is his curiosity. He really is able to get interested in just about anything. In particular, he loves reading and discussion, especially when it comes to philosophical and even provocative texts. For example, I was telling Zarak about a book I used to teach my AP language students, Neil Postman's Amusing Ourselves to Death. Published in '84, the book explores the way television cultures seemed to be shaping our culture at that time. Things were looking good, according to Postman. What's interesting about the book and what seemed to catch Zarak's attention was the fact that Postman compared and contrasted Aldous Huxley's Brave New World with George Orwell's 1984 in the book to determine which of the two writers had the clearest vision for how society would turn out in the year 1984. Anyway, Zarak said he would love to talk about the book, that he hadn't read either of those novels. So Greg challenged him, form a small book club with a few friends, set the time to meet after school, and he joined. Zarak said no problem, made it happen, ended up reading both novels together last year along with a few of his friends. Greg said this year we're reading Postman's book and really starting to make connections. What impresses me so much about Zarak is that in addition to his curiosity, he's 100% engaged. He always has something interesting to say, he's listening, clarifying, critiquing, even laughing with us and the author along the way. He's a really great guy, a thinker who will do great things one day. And in closing, I would just say the CTE teachers sort of collaborated. They said, you know, Zarak is a quiet, unassuming student who comes in each day, his headphones on, like he did tonight, and a smile. And if you walk into his engineering capstone class, you'll see he's created a workshop with a hand-drawn image of a robot on one wall and equations on another wall. Robotics equipment is spread generously over the table. Zarak is in the middle, debating, cheering, coaching, and laughing as he works to create a solution to a problem using technology. His eagerness to absorb and learn new knowledge, as well as his critical thinking to solve problems using technology, allows him to be a leader through his innovative spirit. So we offer you congratulations on this well-deserved recognition, and wish you all the best, and we'll be looking great interest at your future endeavors. Congratulations. Sorry, who's here with you tonight?
So there's my mother and there's my sister.
And your plans next year?
You mentioned Loyola. I'm going to study software engineering. My ultimate goal is to work for like a big tech company, Google, IBM, something like that. That's about it.
He's done really well scholarship-wise.
I got an email today from Amber Hefner. She is the executive director of IDEA Illinois. It's a statewide organization for people in technology and education. She asked me a question, wondering if I could provide her some assistance for how computer science is used at the high school level. I think you just provided me the answer. So I'm going to be reaching out and trying to connect you with Amber. The state conference is in a couple of weeks. You ought to actually do a presentation at the state conference for that. So well done.
Okay, and now on to Maine South for District 207's Best Technology Leader as well.
Great. This month's recipient from Maine South is Paulo Vaqueo. Paulo, you want to stand up here? Paulo is Maine South's Steve Jobs. He loves technology, and he loves art, and he loves to kind of work at the intersection of those. When I was talking to him in my office, he was just saying that he's got a very supportive family and actually comes from a family of creatives. His grandfather, who's had work exhibited at the Art Institute, as a painter, his uncle has art in video games and card games like Magic the Gathering, which is a pretty popular one. It was very popular when I was growing up too. So when I was asking him, when you've got all this work and you're in a computer and you're trying to make a project, like what really drives you? And he said, if I have this vision, which every time I've got a project, I certainly have one, I cannot stop working until that vision is realized. He said, I just obsess over it, I get excited, and he was actually getting really animated when he was telling me about that. I love creating, I just love to make. And so when I was asking him, what got you interested in this when you came into Maine South, where was the kind of impetus? And he said, well, originally I knew I was interested in technology and I was interested in art, wasn't really sure what to do, so my freshman year I took graphic arts. And I just loved it. And so I went through the entire curriculum, taken all the way through AP 2D design, and actually for the Ed Foundation benefit coming up in 2 months, you're going to see his artwork because it's on the actual program. So that's really awesome. And then because of all of his excellent work, he actually has an internship now and actually a part-time job in the digital marketing company American Eagle just over here. So he's learning web design and modern marketing techniques. So I'm sure we'll see his work for many years to come. And then when you look at his unbelievable list of recognition, it's really, really amazing. A Distinguished Student Award and Scholarship from IAGC, the Ravinia Poster Competition, he was honorable mention there, National Society of High School Scholars, first place at the Newhouse Architecture and Design Competition, was a very prestigious one. The Illinois High School Art Exhibit, he was a state finalist for that design contest. Summer School Scholarship in Graphic Art Design at Flashpoint Chicago. This is also very prestigious. Honorable mention at the Hackathon in 2018 is also Adobe certified in Illustrator and Photoshop. And just recently, as of 24 hours ago, we found out from Scholastic, which is one of the most prestigious art and design competitions, that Paulo won silver and honorable mention from 5 of his works. So just really, really incredible. He's also the president of the Graphics Art Club, the vice president of the Graphics Art Club prior to that, and also did an internship at the Fax Media. He's a huge leader in all of our graphic arts programs, also a member of the tennis team, Key Club, Political and Current Events Club, French Club, did a program at Oakton, Engineering in the summer of 2018. Has helped run the hackathon and spent 2 summers down in Savannah for their College of Art and Design, which is a very, very prestigious art and design program. He also does a lot of community work. He's a activities fair representative for graphic arts. He also works at Our Lady of Ransom Parish and does a lot of their men's club events. Does the homework club tutoring at Roosevelt Elementary. He's the freshman representative for our orientation program, and he's also worked at Feed the Homeless at St. Peter's Church. So quite impressive with all of the things that he's doing. So from comments from the people that work with him, Bill Milano, Paulo's counselor, says, outside the classroom, Paulo exhibits a true passion for graphic design. His journey in Maine South includes numerous events which highlight his love for this field. As a member of the school Graphic Arts Club, Paulo holds numerous positions, including president. In this role, he plans a calendar with the moderator, Ms. Cheryl Peterson, who's actually here tonight, coordinates activities with other officers, and partakes in outings and contests with members. In one example, Paulo completed in the Newhouse Architecture and Design Competition. He created a related experience, he created a design to capture the first place award and allowed him access to a free course at Flashpoint Academy. Another related experience, Paulo interns at AmericanEagle.com. This company makes and posts websites. After the summer experience, the super impressed manager hired Paulo for a part-time job during the school year. Finally, Paulo invested time the past 2 summers at a week-long workshop at the Savannah College of Art and Design. These experiences, he meets teachers and students who challenge his abilities, discover new methods and techniques, and makes connections with those other passionate graphic designers. Beth Ann Ball, Paulo's Algebra 2 teacher, says, I had Paulo in class freshman year, and I have seen him each year at Hack Ridge. And Hack Ridge is essentially kind of like an overnight festival of computer hacking. So we supervise the kids, but they're essentially running around just like doing stuff on computers. Get a lot of candy for that. Last year, Paulo's technology leadership came in its way to help me out in 2 different capacities. I was looking for some 3D models of polyhedra to be created from the 3D printer. Paulo accepted the challenge and created models from net diagrams that can be used in the classroom to help students visualize the geometry involved in calculating surface area and volume of complicated figures. Last year, when Hawk Pride was looking for a new logo to be unveiled with the new castle-related meaning of Pride, Paulo submitted an excellent design. While ultimately going with a different logo, I appreciate Paulo's willingness to help Hawk Pride and his creative ability with technology. Anna Serrano, Paulo's French 5 teacher, says Paulo is an excellent student who works exceptionally hard. I've had him as a student for the past 3 years, and with each one, he has never faltered in motivation and drive. His classmates look up to him, and to be honest, I do as well. I am so proud of Paulo for all his accomplishments. And finally, Cheryl Peterson, his advanced graphic arts teacher, said, Paulo Michaela is an outstanding senior at Maine South and one of 207's best. He has been a technology leader ever since his freshman year. Paulo leads by example and has excelled in many areas in and outside of high school. It has been an honor and a pleasure to have Paulo in class for 4 years. His kind and generous leadership style has made everyone around him better for it. I wish him the very best in all of his future endeavors. So Paulo, it's really impressive to look back at all of your portfolios and everything that you've done. And I think we're all really excited to see your work probably on exhibits and different designs and in companies and what have you, for the rest of the world. So thank you so much for bringing joy to our lives and for just being everything that we would ever want from a Maine South student and from a District 207 student. Congratulations. Why don't you tell us who's here with you this evening?
I will be enrolling in a 4-year college and majoring in graphic design.
Okay, awesome. Who's with you this evening?
My mom, my dad, and my graphic design teacher from Spears.
Awesome.
Congratulations again on being District 207's best. Now is your chance to go out, step outside with your principals and your families and your teachers. You're more than welcome to come back in and join us for the rest of the meeting, or it's your chance to gently depart. Congratulations again. Okay, Julie.
Thank you for scoping.
Thank you.
Do we have any public comments? Okay, update from the superintendent.
Okay. First update is I want to recognize Mr. Dietz. Mr. Dietz won an Illinois Association of School Personnel Awards for District 207's digital branding in personnel. Now, District 207 kind of gets award, but this is all Greg. So this is all of the video interviewing that we've done and been at the forefront of. It's all of the digital marketing campaigns that Greg runs and puts on social media. And in fact, Greg has literally become a national leader in this. So he trains people, not only locally in Illinois, but around the country on how to use video in all things personnel. And it has been highly advantageous. I'll give you one quick story. One of our new language arts teachers this year, Greg met her when she was in France through the use of video and was able to interview her and connect with her, and ultimately we hired her. So if you think about a world where the pool of available teachers, the slope is doing this, having strategies where we can connect to people in unique and cutting edge ways is a true advantage for District 207. Greg's done such a good job, people are catching on to it. So I hope we continue to stay out in front of it. This is a very, very well-deserved award for Mr. Dietz. And then I may have told the board this, but in case that I haven't, District 207 is actually going to be a case study in an upcoming book on collective efficacy by Jenny Donahue. Now, most of you don't know the name Jenny Donahue, but she's a colleague of John Hattie's. Most of you don't know the name John Hattie, but in education, he's a really big deal. He is to education what, I'm trying to think of the name here, what John Wooden is to basketball. So I mean, he has conducted all of the meta-analysis of what works in education. Collective efficacy is, so if you rank order all of the strategies in classrooms, collective efficacy is the highest thing you can aspire for. It has an effect size of 1.57, so it's a standard deviation and a half. And collective efficacy isn't one thing, it's all of those things that are on the center graphic on the wall there. She has been here to study us and see the work that we're doing, so we're going to be a case study, I think a book that's going to get published probably in the summer, early fall. So we'll make sure we get some copies of that when that happens, so that's really cool. And our ability to attract and retain really good teachers is how we keep collective efficacy in the future. So there's a couple of nice little updates for the board.
Updates from the board members.
I just wanted to mention that the Ed Red dinner was the other night, and there were a number of us there. It was a really good event, I thought, and,
We got Jan in.
yes.
Oh, were you last minute?
Yes. And,
We had to pull some strings.
Ed Red is so important, I think, and at this time, we're really trying to get the word out sometimes to the community about things that are going on. How do we educate the community so that we can put pressure on legislators about things that matter to us. I don't know that we've gotten real involved in that in the past, but there's going to be a push for that, including more communication, which I know Brett is involved in that as well. So I'm just mentioning it so that you know, encourage you to pay attention to the things that they're putting out.
We are a charter member of EdRed, and they're coming up this next year, so the dinner next year will be the 50th anniversary. We have been a charter member from day one, and in fact, we host them, and we are the fiscal agent for EdRed. So as such, Carla's serving this year as an ad hoc committee member. We have an ad hoc board position annually on EdRed because we are the fiscal agent for the.
Is that what it's called, ad hoc?
Ex officio.
Close
That
enough.
could be ad hoc
Close
too,
enough.
yeah.
Close enough. Yes, yes.
Something like.
Officially,
I
it's
like that
ex officio.
position because I don't have to vote, but I get to be there.
Yes.
Thank you, yes, ex officio, get that for the record. The mess up and correction, get it all.
Well, it was an excellent event, and Zara Hartfield does a fantastic job. She was very well attended, very impressive, so. All right, any other updates from any other board members? All right, ad hoc committee, member Owen.
Ad hoc policy committee.
Yeah, we had an ad hoc.
I had it in there somewhere. I was just a little early.
Ex officio.
Yes, we had a meeting, we had a meeting on January 14th. The meeting was held to, President Lord Terry Collins and I, Greg Dietz, and of course, Jamie Emily. There were no public comments. We did go over a number of policy revisions. They're going to be coming up for a first reading tonight, so I'll let Greg talk about those a little bit further. We also briefly touched on the discussion we've sort of been having about a new sustainability policy, and that is something that we are looking at possible policies. We are very much in the infancy of that, but we will be moving forward on that after consultation with a number of Ken and his staff. And that's it. The meeting was adjourned at 9:03.
Finance committee, Linda.
Sure. So the finance committee meeting was held on January 27th, and I was present along with Laura Ostraco and Jim Lee. The meeting was called to order at 5:15 and there were no public comments. One of the things that we discussed was the mid-year budget update, which was given to us by Mary Blue, the assistant superintendent for business. We, the end of the year projections cut deficit from 5.8 million to 2.6 million due to better than expected investment income. I think Mary's going to probably go over and explain that a little bit tonight. That was a really good think. We also looked at the investment volatility report. Currently, our portfolio has a carrying value of $131,851,000 and a market value of $133,571,154. And if this for the year end, the market value adjustment would be $1,728,000. I think there is a detailed report in our packet. Ms. Klug also updated the committee on the PTAB refunds, the ones that were requested, settled, and outstanding refund and revenue debt, revenue reserve. The district preserved over 72% revenue, almost exclusively commercial properties when we intervened. The district was working with our attorney on intervening on highly assessed commercial and industrial properties at the board review level. The assessments are corrected at board review level, avoiding nearly 5.3 million in potential refunds in 1 year. The total refunds as of December are 2.2 million, plus the budgeted $3 million. We also discussed a little bit the hardship amendment to 457B retirement plan. This amendment is going to come to the board today, and I think Mary's going to discuss that a little bit as well. The meeting is adjourned at 5:20.
All right, buildings and grounds.
Yes, the meeting for Buildings and Grounds was held on January 27th, 2020. Aurora Austriaco, Sheila Yusuf Abramson, and myself were present, and the meeting was called to order at 5:22. There were no public comments, and the meeting consisted of discussing 5 different bid packages. And the first one was on precast. 2 bids were received for outside walls at Main West and concrete floor at Main East. The low bidder was Mid-States Concrete Industries, and the district is recommending awarding the bid for West at $1,808,184, which includes base plus alternates for color mix and sandblast finish, an allowance of $15,000 for precast electrical changes, and deducts to eliminate vertical reveals and interior graphic. The district also recommends awarding the bid for the concrete floor at East in the amount of $162,475, which includes an allowance of $15,000 for precast openings. The bid package 2 was for skylights. 2 bids were received for skylights at Main East and Main South, and the district is recommending awarding the bid to Super Sky Products in the total amount of $283,610. The third package was for elevators, and Otis Elevator Company was the low bidder for the elevator renovations at Main East at $105,000, plus the alternate of $5,000 to increase capacity to 5,000 pounds, and an allowance for temporary usage of $30,000. The district recommends awarding the bid in the total amount of $140,000. At this time, the district recommends rejecting bid package 3 for elevator renovation at Main West because of, to make time for additional design review. The fourth bid package was for HVAC equipment. Several bids were received for HVAC equipment. The district recommends awarding the bid to Flowtech Mechanical Systems for HVAC in the total amount of $1,198,000. And the fifth bid package was for electrical equipment, but the district is recommending holding it back so that more time can be given for evaluation. And Tucker conducts a scope review on all bids and all bid packages together are under budget by $312,000, $312,776. All recommended bid packages 1 through 4 will go to the board for approval on February 3rd, 2020. And the meeting was adjourned at 5:45 p.m.
Thank you. Construction update.
So for January, we focused a lot on those 5 bid packages that you've just learned about. But we also started to plan for our moving because we have major moves, both spring break and summer break at each of the buildings. So we started to take a look at how we're gonna do that in terms of boxes, students, staging, everything required of that. And then, believe it or not, bids for phase 1 go on the street today, and we start planning for phase 2, which will include design meetings in February and March, and will extend into the summer, so that in August, a big package 2 for the remaining renovation work at all 3 of the schools will be bid. So I put down some milestone dates, and when we get to calendars, we're gonna add one, because we need a special board meeting for approval of the asbestos abatement bids. But tonight is the award of the long lead items. Then bid package 1's on the street. February 17th, which is President's Day, we do a building walkthrough for bid package 1. The bids are opened on the 24th. We are recommending a special board meeting on March 9th to award what right now is 37 bid packages, which could be divided in each of the schools for over 100 contracts. A little bit of construction news.
All right, moving on to monthly status of finances.
Sure. In your board packet is financial report for December. Revenue and expenditures are in line with the budget. Part of the only fund where you'll see a deviance on the revenue and expenditure side is the debt service fund, because we did a refunding of a portion of the bonds, so to produce an interest rate savings to the taxpayers. And when you do that refunding, the entire amount flows through both revenue and expenditures, and the net amount doesn't change, but you'll see both revenue and expenditures on that. Also in here is the mid-year budget update. As indicated earlier, we anticipating improving the deficit through a combination of better revenue. Our investment income is up. Our rate of return is about 2.24%. When we did the budget, we thought it would be closer to about 1.8%. So that's going to give us over $500,000 of additional interest income. Then our Title I allocation is increased. On the expenditure side, we enjoyed a premium holiday in December, so neither the employees nor board had to pay into the self-insurance fund, and that equated to a $910,000 savings. We don't anticipate spending our contingency, knock on wood, it's been a very mild winter, so a lot of unforeseen things haven't happened. Then there's some overtime for snow removal that we won't be spending, some turnover from unfilled positions, and a whole host of other areas that allowed us to improve the deficit. In your packet is a very detailed report on each individual area. The next item is the property tax valuation and refunds. So we've expanded not only into PTAB, but also into looking at intervention for some of our large properties at the Board of Review level before tax bills go out. By interviewing at the Board of Review level before tax bills go out, the intervention results in a zero refund. It means that the assessment that we agree to is what is on the tax bill, and therefore no refund is created. And the final report in our property taxes are refunds that we're tracking that are $5,000 or more. So you'll see a number of properties. What is unique about this year is not a lot, but several of the properties that we're seeing those refunds are because they're tax exempt now, so they're coming off the tax roll, so you'll see a refund of those property taxes for several years. And the final report in here is the investment volatility report. As indicated earlier, the investment volatility report takes a look at the carrying amount of our investments to the market amount to see if there is a positive market value or a negative market value adjustment. A positive market value adjustment means that our portfolio's rate of return is higher than you would anticipate currently. So at a 2.24, that is slightly higher than you could go out and get right now, which is causing a market value adjustment of about $1.7 million. It shows you how the variance would occur if interest rates were to go up 100 basis or down 100 basis, and then also provides you with the detail behind each and one of the investments that the district carries. All of the investments are done by the Maine Township School Treasurer, but this will give you an idea of the types, maturity rates, and interest rates on the individual investments. I will entertain any questions that anybody has on the various financial reports presented.
And I have just a comment more than anything. But one of the things that I think that you've done an incredible job at is really highlighting the impact of when a commercial property, we don't benefit from the tax rolls if it gets, cut or if it gets taken off the tax rolls. And in light of what we were listening to Senator Cullerton about, last Thursday, I mean, I think that citizens really should I don't know if I wasn't privy to that information, if I would have realized how important every single decision is for one of these commercial properties coming off of the tax rolls. And it just, I feel like that kind of either we should be communicating some of that to the public, or that there's gotta be a better way to highlight